Most people think sales are the goal, but the truth is, sales are just the result. They're the byproduct of your actions, your systems, and most importantly, your habits. And here's the part that surprises most new Etsy sellers. The habits that separate the top 1% from everyone else aren't flashy secret strategies. They're the boring ones, the ones most people get tired of doing after a few weeks or a few months or even a year. But the sellers who stick with them, the ones who not only practice these habits consistently, but also apply what they learn from them, those are the sellers who start seeing real results and who eventually scale to 6 figures and beyond. I've seen it firsthand, both in my own shops and inside my Simply Thrive community, where members who stay committed to these fundamentals are the ones who are quietly building momentum month after month. So for today's video, I'm breaking down the top 3 habits that separate the top 1% Etsy sellers. These are the unglamorous, behind-the-scenes habits that create the foundation for every bestseller, every breakthrough, and every overnight success story you see online. Because when you build these into your routine, not just at the start, but as you grow, that's when things really start to shift. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Mandy, a busy boy mom and active top 1% seller on Etsy. I've collectively made over $1 million as a product-based business owner over the years between handmade and print on demand. And so now I am on a mission to help creative entrepreneurs like you build confidence in growing your Etsy business with print on demand so that your products can get seen, loved, and sold, but without the inventory and without the overwhelm. Our first habit is intentional niche research. Because here's the thing, top Etsy sellers don't just sell what they like. They understand who their customer is and what motivates them to buy. Because spaghetti at a wall isn't a strategy, and hope is not a plan. Intentional niche research means actually understanding your buyer's world, their interests, their lifestyle, and even the phrases they use when talking about what they love. So as we gear up to head into 2026 soon, focus on intentionally deepening your understanding of your niches so that you can align your products and designs to resonate with them. Challenge yourself to go beyond the obvious and discover their unique interests and identities. For example, if you're targeting a younger demographic, explore popular stores like Anthropologie or Urban Outfitters to see what is selling well with similar audiences. And if you're going after a politically engaged audience, spend some time hanging out online where they are. Keep an eye on Google Trends or trending topics on TikTok or even Threads. If you're interested in the wedding niche, look at bridal websites and blogs and even Instagram accounts to understand upcoming trends and what people in that industry are talking about. I have a new shop where I'm creating products for various life milestones, such as bachelorettes. So I spent some time looking at active Instagram accounts and discovered a variety of trends and themes that this target audience is actively interested in. The goal isn't to copy, it's to listen. For outdoor themes, research relevant activities and browse sites like Eddie Bauer or REI. Additionally, tools like ChatGPT can help generate niche-specific phrases and even help you with some of the research that will resonate with your audience, making your designs ultimately more relatable and engaging. I'll be sure to link my free Seen, Loved, and Sold series for you, which is completely free right here on my channel and also includes a free growth guide so that you can really understand this concept fully. Habit number 2 is discovery scrolling with purpose. Now, this one's a game changer when it comes to developing your eye for what works. This isn't about burning yourself out on every single trend out there. This is about building awareness. Daily discovery scrolling is how you train your brain to spot patterns, demand, and opportunity. It's how you start to understand why certain designs sell, not just what's selling. Discovery scrolling is simply the term I came up with for describing the habit of scrolling daily to discover, get it? Demand, trends, and inspiration. both broadly and within your niche. It's how you become better at understanding designs and concepts that sell, period. Looking at keyword data will only get you so far. You must become an expert in the visual side of research as well. Therefore, you need to spend time on Etsy yourself, not just to browse, but to build active awareness around what customers are excited about, aka what they're buying. This doesn't need to be long or complicated. There's been plenty of times where I'm at an appointment where instead of doom scrolling on social media, I pop open my Etsy app and run a few searches. I'll often begin with broad searches like women's shirts or gifts for mom or bachelorette decor. These really broad categories often highlight what's popular before trends trickle down into smaller, more specific themes or niches. Look beyond just bestseller badges. Pay attention to popular now badges and listings with phrases like 20 plus views in the last 24 hours or in demand and purchase twice in the last 24 hours. These clues help you spot emerging trends early, or at the very least, start building that awareness. As I'm doing this, I frequently save screenshots and then save those on just a simple whiteboard in Canva or wherever you design. You can then start observing styles and colors and themes across niches that are different from your own. And this broader perspective allows you to bring fresh ideas into your specific niche, avoiding that trap of only replicating what's already been done. And if you're wondering why this matters, it's because top sellers don't rely on luck. We rely on recognition. Our brain has learned through repetition, through building this muscle with habits, to recognize what looks and feels like a product that will sell by allowing your brain a chance to simply act like a sponge and absorb what it sees. The colors, the styles, the fonts, the placement, the mock-ups, all of it are things that over time your brain will start to instinctively piece together. And this is how your demand and design skills improve over time. The goal is to absorb and learn. Examine listings that are gaining popularity. Observe the aesthetics and themes of successful shops. Note what's selling, what's not, and how you can adapt these insights into your strategy. Developing this habit and skill, and not always just relying on someone to give it to you, is essential to becoming a top seller. I'll link my designing playlist for you as well so that you can watch several examples of creating new designs from top trends and from that discovery scrolling habit. And finally, habit number 3 is intentional consistency. This is the big one, and honestly, probably the most boring. But in all seriousness, it's the habit that makes or breaks long-term success. I get asked all the time, how many listings do I need before I start seeing results? And my answer is always the same. It's not about the number. I've seen shops with 100 listings pulling in consistent sales and others with 2,000 listings barely getting views. The difference? The intentional and consistent sellers learn, adapt, and apply with every single listing they create. Because creating volume for the sake of volume means nothing if you're not evolving consistently along the way. Top sellers stay consistent, not in random bursts of motivation, but through repeatable systems. They batch, they plan, and they show up even on the days when it feels like nothing is working. They're consistent when sales are rolling in, and they're consistent when it's quiet. They keep building when it's frustrating, when results feel delayed, and yes, even when it feels like none of us understand the Etsy algorithm. Because here's the truth. Motivation might be what helps you start your business, but your habits and consistency as a business owner are what keep you there. One way to build in consistency is to have a plan and work in batches. Batching helps you scale efficiently in your chosen niches and sub-niches in order to build a volume that does help to generate consistent traffic and data that you can learn from. If you're not seeing progress in terms of visits and favorites in your shop, go back to your research and keep practicing your designs on new listings. I can almost guarantee that's where you need more work. Treat this like an iterative and intentional process. Because remember, consistency compounds. Not only does staying consistent in your shop with your listings build your visibility on Etsy, but you will also have new data from new listings. They get a small temporary boost on Etsy, and this ensures that you're consistently practicing your design and listing skills over time. Remember, the muscle and a habit that we build. Set yourself a regular listing habit, whether it's a daily listing or weekly if you're like me and like to work in batches. The point is to build in consistency in your processes. And this applies to not only listing, but also doing the niche research and discovery scrolling that we talked about earlier. Success often seems just out of reach until it isn't. Your commitment to these habits and actions now is what will set you apart down the road. The thing about building a successful Etsy shop is that it's rarely about big leaps. It's about steady steps. There's a quote from Joel Barker that I share in every single planning party that I host at the beginning of every month inside my private community. And it's one of my favorites related to this. Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes time. But vision with action can change the world. Remember, long-term results are created by the actions you take every single day. Sellers who make it to the top aren't sprinting. They're pacing themselves. They're refining. They're showing up when it's exciting and just as much when it's not. Because growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like quiet, intentional consistency. Like choosing to research when you'd rather doom scroll, or designing one more listing when the last 5 didn't take off, or testing another idea even when you're second guessing everything. That's the difference. That's what compounds over time. So if you're ready to bring that same steady focus into your own business, to have a clear plan for where to spend your energy and what to work on next, I'll link my 30-day growth guide for you. It's completely free, and it'll help you focus, batch, and create a growth plan that reinforces these habits and keeps you moving forward, even on those slow days. Remember, every top seller on Etsy was once a beginner, looking for the right formula to connect with their customers and start making progress. They achieved their success not because they cheated or found a shortcut, but because they committed to doing the right activities consistently. They adapted when things didn't work, and they never stopped learning. Because motivation might get you started, but commitment, consistency, and clarity are what will carry you into 2026 and beyond. I hope you found this helpful. Make sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive on all things Etsy and print on demand. In the meantime, stay focused, my friend. Keep taking action and never stop pursuing excellence in your business. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.